Okay, it's time for week 2 college football picks from ESPN's College Pick'em. They give you 10 games. Again, you rate confidence: 1 least confidence, 10 most confidence. Just to make some things clear, people did not comprehend this last week. I do not pick versus the spread. Obviously, if I did, my picks would be a lot different. I'd go about it a lot different. But I believe in just wins and losses. That's all that matters. Doesn't matter if the spread against the spread you're supposed to win by 17 but you only won by 10. You're supposed to lose by 10 but you only lost by 3, so you covered. And teams don't care about that. They care about wins and losses. So those of you that do the spread, fine. I don't do it. Just do straight wins and losses. I back up my picks, wins or loss, with logical explanations. If you disagree with one of my picks, that's fine. State why. But that's what it comes down to. I back up all my picks. And so, any given Saturday, anything can happen in college football. That's what makes it so great. So here it is, starting with my most confident, with my 10 pick, Wisconsin at home over Oregon State. I think Wisconsin's going to roll Oregon State. Oregon State and the Pac-12 took a big hit last Saturday, with Oregon State losing to an FCS team, Sacramento State. Wisconsin arguably has the best 1-2 tandem in college football at running back, Monty Ball, James White. Now you throw Russell Wilson into that mix at quarterback, a top 20 player overall. Wisconsin's going to be tough. Possibly a national title contender, one of the favorites to win the Big Ten. But I think Wisconsin rolls this week and could roll the rest of the year with those 3 players running the offense. Now with my 9 pick, with Iowa over Iowa State. Iowa, I think, is just a superior team coming off a disappointing 2010 year. They do return Adam Robinson to carry the load, a few of their top receivers. Curious to see what they do in adversity or in crunch time without Ricky Stanzi, that proven leader at quarterback. But I think this week they'll cruise past Iowa State. My 8 pick, Alabama over Penn State. The game is in Happy Valley. I think that's all Penn State has going for them in this matchup. Individual talent-wise, on paper, Alabama's got the best defense in the nation, personnel-wise. I mean, the best linebacking core, highlighted by Dante Hightower, that freak of an athlete. Nico Johnson, Courtney Upshaw, Mark Barron at safety, the hard hitter, Drake Kirkpatrick, one of the top corners, got great length, good run support. You don't find that in college corners a lot. I think Alabama wins this one. Not as easily as some may think, but I had Alabama going to the national championship 4 months ago, so they need to win this game because they got a tough West schedule ahead of them in the SEC. Now my 7 pick, unfortunately, I'm a Georgia fan, but I do this to win. Last week I did pick Georgia with a 1 against Boise. But Georgia did not look ready against Boise. Boise outplayed them. Georgia stayed in the game with a few big plays, but they were dropping passes, couldn't keep their feet underneath them. Depth is a huge concern now, especially at linebacker, losing Alec Ogletree for 4 to 6 weeks. Running back's a concern. Hopefully Carlton Thomas, when he comes back, he can contribute big time. But I just think South Carolina, the game is in Athens. This is why I hate having Georgia in the college pick'em. Because like I said, I do pick to win. But you never know. This is one of those rivalry games where you think one team's going to win, the other team wins. But I just think Lattimore, he's a beast. I think he's the best running back in the nation. There's going to be too much for Georgia to handle. Alshon Jeffrey on the outside. Steven Garcia came in, gave that team a spark against East Carolina when they had to make their comeback and pull away. Unfortunately, I got South Carolina with a 7. My 6 pick, North Carolina at home over Rutgers. North Carolina, the focal point of a lot of NCAA negativity investigations. Always have tons of individual talent, doesn't always convert to a team and wins. But on the defensive side of the ball in particular, they got 3 potential first-round draft picks next year with Dante Page Moss, Quentin Coples, Zach Brown. another freak, the fastest linebacker in the nation, very good in coverage. I think North Carolina wins this at home over Rutgers. Uh, Not easy, but they'll handle them. My 5 pick, going with Tennessee at home over Cincinnati. Tyler Bray, confident quarterback, not afraid to take risks. He plays ahead of his age. Tennessee started a lot of freshmen got a lot of playing time last year for Tennessee. That's really going to pay off for them. This year they're going to make their presence felt, but by next year they're definitely going to be a contender in the East, possibly the entire SEC. Might be a long shot saying they're going to win the SEC, but they're definitely going to contend legitimately for the SEC East. Now my 4 pick, Mississippi State on the road against Auburn. Auburn showed they had some of that 2010 magic. Coming back against Utah State, Mississippi State's a type of team, if that happens, you're not going to come back. They can control the ball. They got a strong defense. I just think that rushing attack, that read option, physical read attack, led by Chris Rumph at quarterback, Vic Ballard at running back, one of the most physical teams in the nation. They're going to control the ball, and I think they're going to take Auburn on the road. Mississippi State is going to be a contender in the West, one of the more underrated teams in the nation. My 3 pick, these next 3 get a little bit tougher. This week overall seems to be right now a little bit easier than last week, but my 3 pick, Michigan at home over Notre Dame. Now, I was high on Notre Dame entering the year. A lot of people were. You can say they outplayed South Florida last week. Just those turnovers really did them in. They got to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback. Tyler Reese came in, I thought played better than Dane Christ. Michael Floyd is definitely going to give Michigan defense some headaches. Michigan, the offense, they put up points last week against an inferior team. Denard Robinson, not as electric in this West Coast system as he was in the spread. That was to be expected. But still, talent-wise, one of the top players in the nation. I think Michigan at home, it's going to be a close one, but I think Michigan's going to do it. Their defense is playing a little bit better than they had last year. I know it was only one game in the year against Western Michigan. But yeah, I got Michigan with a 3 at home over Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame, really, they got that automatic rule with them. If they finish in the top 14, they go to the BCS. But if they go 9-3, I'm sure any BCS bowl would be happy to take a 9-3 Notre Dame team. Obviously, a loss here really hurts that. They got a tough schedule. 9 of their teams this year on their schedule were in bowl games last year. Michigan, another one of those. South Florida was last week. But I got to go with Michigan in this one. Now my number 2 pick, USC at home over Utah. Last week, Matt Barkley, Robert Woods in particular, put on a show. 17 receptions, 3 touchdowns. The guy's amazing. Amazing after the catch, making plays, creating, he's very quick on his cuts. I think USC is going to give Utah a little welcome to the Pac-12 present, their opening game in that conference. USC was pushed to the brink by Minnesota, but Minnesota, a team under the radar, on the rise in the future in the Big Ten. They missed a couple of key 2-point conversions that made that score closer than what it should have been. But still, I think USC wins at home. Again, individual talent, hard to find better than what USC has. West of that Mississippi River, you can say that. Now my one confidence, both these teams, I had my teams on the rise 2011. One of them has to go down. I got Texas at home over BYU. BYU luckily walked away with that win in Ole Miss last week with that late defensive touchdown. They pretty much contained that potent offense of BYU. Texas's defense carried them last year. Lost a lot of players in the secondary. But Garrett Gilbert, this is the game he needs to show that he is the guy for Texas. Malcolm Brown, the freshman running back. The offensive line of Texas being more physical, going with a man blocking scheme as opposed to zone. But I think this is the game that will really give Texas the respect they need to get back into the Big 12 race. get back into the national title. Maybe not national title, but back on the national scene. But if Texas does run the table in that tough Big 12, they'll be right back in that national title race. But those are my picks, 1 through 10. Again, I don't do the spread. My picks would, of course, be totally different. I already talked about the spread. And again, if you disagree with my picks, I'm sure people are. This week, maybe not as much. I can see those bottom 3 picks. My Georgia fans, don't hate on me. I want to say I'm wrong, but I do pick to win. I back up my picks, win or loss, like I said, with logical explanations as to why I picked that team. So there's the picks for week 2. We'll see what I do. Last week going 7-3. Hopefully I can do better. All right.